On the Wing for birders, First Light Chronicles for beginners, and Focus on Astrophotography for astrophotographers. We bring in astronomers and explorers from around the world to answer your questions live. But there's so much cool information there that we decide to package it all together and run it 24 hours a day. We're also on Amazon Live, where we do deep dives into our products and our gear. There's so much important information as we share the education, the experience, answering questions from the audience, that kind of thing. So tune in, and thanks for watching. If you want to see amazing Milky Way views, you want to observe the stars, you want to hang out with astronomers, but you love art and you love music, you're going to want to come to the Arizona Dark Sky Star Party, September 21st to the 25th at Oracle State Park in Oracle, Arizona. It'll be an amazing event, and I know you're going to love it. Well, hello everybody, it's Scott Roberts, Annie Scarborough, and we are here for Explore Alliance Live. And so what
it's definitely
you were hearing,
live.
What's that?
It's definitely live.
It's definitely live. That's right.
And we know,
What
we know Scott's coffee's hot. I was saying, and we know your coffee is hot.
That's right. So we were listening to a little piece of the presentation from Dr. Wendy Friedman. She's you know, an astronomer, cosmologist type of astronomer from University of Chicago, and her work, her defining work, has been on something called the Hubble constant. Now, this is something that Edwin Hubble came up with as kind of a yardstick, a measuring, a mathematical measuring tool to measure the size of the universe. Since he came up with it, it's been refined, and the number's been refined by measuring what they call standard candles. Okay, so those are certain types of stars, certain ways of measuring brightness or energy from the universe, and then trying to statistically remove noise out of it to get closer and closer to a theoretical model. Okay, Wendy Friedman and her colleagues, I think they have it down to a certainty of like 1%. Okay, and they are looking to refine it even further. So amateur astronomers to join the American Astronomical Society. In his spare time, he helped build out the city of Pasadena, helped Henry Huntington develop the Huntington Library, which is an incredible 130-acre estate and amazing archive of science books and all kinds of books. He also developed the California Institute of Technology, otherwise known as Caltech. And so a very busy guy, didn't really have a lot of other time on his hands to get his family together like they did over this last weekend. we were invited to give a or to set up and broadcast live the event. So if you had a chance to watch it live over last weekend, you got to chat and see some of this activity as Ed Krupp from Griffith Park Observatory gave a special talk. Sam Hale, the grandson of George Ellery Hale, gave some inspiring talks, and the president of the California Institute of Technology was there on hand as well. And then the second day, they went to Mount Wilson Observatory, listened to Dr. Wendy Friedman talk about the Hubble constant, which was developed at Mount Wilson, and to talk about her work on the James Webb Space Telescope. She'll be one of the very first observers to use that instrument, and so it was a real honor. We got to see her talk, got to have dinner with her. It was just really, really cool. And then they went off and looked through the historic 100-inch telescope where the some of the measurements for the Hubble constant were worked out. So, but Annie, you've been studying the James Webb Space Telescope recently.
Yeah, just in the last week. I and am new to the education world, and so I'm in the middle of a speech class, and I had to pick my own topic. And when I was going through the TED Talks that really caught my attention, I was, because we're going to explore scientific, so that's kind of, it's like, oh wait, there's a telescope. We're talking about a telescope. Let's read that, and so let's watch that. And so I was really, really amazed. And in fact, I was telling Tyler about it today, and he goes, "Where have you been, Annie?" Sorry, under a rock. So, but it just really inspired me to think there is so much more out there, and especially whenever the gentleman that was talking, he was talking about new planets and how they're going to be able to see new planets and discover those and things like that. And so it's going to open up exploration really, really big. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
Hubble Space Telescope did that for us in the, it's been up there for like 3 decades now, 32 years, I think it's been up there collecting data, still working today. But Jay West will be another, just will leapfrog over what Hubble Space Telescope did for us. And so we're going to get to see the universe in a whole new light, so. Amateur astronomers, Annie, a lot of the astrophotographers compare their 60-hour, 100-hour long exposures or whatever to the Hubble Space Telescope. That's kind of their benchmark.
Oh,
you're about to get a new benchmark. Okay, with and the problem, a hurdle for them also will be is that Jay West images in the infrared, and you and I were talking about it earlier today, and you were talking about the gold that's on the mirror and mirrors, and that's the gold reflects more infrared. It's higher performance in infrared.
Yeah. Well, that's really, and it's really neat how because I know as we were talking today, I was, you said they started this journey in 96. I think you said they started this whole thing in 96. And it's 96. And so it's just crazy to think about how far technology has come and how much further it's probably going to come even more. And so, the things that they've had to overcome and had to think about and achieve in order to even be able to get it into space is absolutely amazing. So I think what was the lady's name that was speaking? I'm sorry, Scott, but we just watched the video on
Wendy Friedman.
Okay, so did she say that was as thin as hair? Is that what she said in her talk? That
it was atoms thick. She might have described it like that, but it is very, very. That's optical coatings, including the coatings that are on our telescopes, are they're the way that they're applied is they put the polished optic into a vacuum chamber. Okay, they pump out all the air. Okay, Then
Okay.
they have a way of driving or vaporizing the materials that they want to use. In the case of J West, they use gold. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
they had gold pieces in there. They had an ion gun flowing an ion plasma onto the gold. Okay, now it's in a vacuum chamber, so it's making this cloud of gold that's covering everything, including the optics. Okay,
It's
and
crazy.
so it's very, very, very thin. They usually put an overcoat to protect the coating. In the case of J West, I'm not sure if they had to do that or not,
Mm-hmm.
because there is no air in space to oxidize the coatings. And gold doesn't
Yeah.
really oxidize anyways, not like aluminum will, for example, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So did they? So then they mainly chose gold because of the oxidization. Yeah, I can't even say it.
No, they chose
Or
gold because of the infrared reflectivity,
that's what
the
that's
performance in
right. That
infrared, because it's
yeah,
an infrared telescope, you know.
yeah. So I didn't know if it was because of both of those things. Like I know silver probably doesn't do as well as gold, but I didn't know if maybe it just sounds like it. This sounds like a material that is more durable and will achieve the things that they're needing. So, but it was as we were talking today, the other cool thing was to think about how strong it is. I think you said that you could see the details of a penny 24 miles away, and then
24
when
miles
we
away,
yeah,
right?
and then whenever we started and whenever we started talking about it, then we started talking about, okay, well, how far can we see in a horizon? And you said like 3 miles is as far, if we're at sea
Yeah,
level,
it's 2.9 miles or something, you know.
it's
So if
like
you're,
nothing.
I'm not even 6 feet tall. I'm like 5'10". Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't quite see 3 miles out. Okay, even on a
Uh-huh.
crystal clear day, looking out over the ocean at sea level, that's I'm only going to be able to see 3 miles out. You get some elevation though. Now you can start to see much further out. You know,
Yeah.
and many rock climbers and stuff like that, or if you've been to the top of a mountain, you might be able to see 100 miles out. Okay, but imagine
Yeah.
putting a penny out, somebody's 24 miles away. And
You see, you can see that. That's
now, what's
crazy
the
to
date
think
on this
about.
penny here? Okay, that's what Jay West can do. Okay,
I mean,
so
and when it's in our hands, we have to like bring it up so close to our eyes just to see
yeah,
it.
right.
I
I'm using
mean,
a magnifying glass, right? That's right. So it is
that is so
super,
crazy.
super, right, right.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's interesting. I think somebody on the chat is asking about what we think about civilization out there, and so that's a great question. I mean, there's so many different kinds of things that could be living and growing that we don't,
well,
you just never know.
here's one of the big problems I think humans have is that we separate everything, right? We
Hmm.
separate,
Hmm.
you're separating the whites from the colors and putting in the washing machine. You're separating, which side of the road you're driving on. You're separating which ring you put your finger, you put your ring. We separate everything, okay? And
Hmm.
therefore,
Hmm.
we think that we're home base, okay, and everything out there is separate from us. Okay. So when you ask the
Yeah,
question, are there civilizations out there? We happen to be part of the out there. Okay.
that's
We're
true. That
connected,
is a true statement.
absolutely connected to everything else in the universe. So if you want to ask, is there life out there in the universe? Your first answer is yes. Okay. Because we're here. Okay. It's self-evident, all right, that we're already here. Now, is there other planets out there that have life on them? Probably, okay, probably because it happened here, okay. And
Yeah.
so I think one of the big fallacies that humans keep falling into is that we think that we somehow occupy a special place in the universe.
Mm.
It started with us thinking, in Ptolemy's time, okay, that we were the center of the universe. Earth was the center of the
Yeah.
universe, and everything went around us, okay? and up until really the turn, when the 1900s are getting established, Harlow Shapley is at Mount Wilson using the 60-inch telescope, measuring globular star clusters. Have you ever seen? I mean, have you seen globular star clusters with your telescope, Amy?
Not with my telescope. No, I have
Not
not.
yet. Okay. But when you do, you're going to be blown away. They look like snowballs of stars. They're beautiful.
I
Oh
had to
And
wow.
I had to
have you
wipe
seen?
mine down because I was seeing globular clusters. Once I got rid of that, I was fine.
He was fine. Okay. Globular star clusters are some of the most beautiful objects in the sky, and they can be seen
Mm-hmm.
even with small telescopes. There's some real bright ones out there, okay? But they look like snowballs of stars, okay? M13 is like a really famous one, the Hercules cluster, okay? Well, these globular star clusters are formed around the center of our galaxy, like in a halo, okay? And
Okay.
so Harlow Shapley started making very careful measurements of these globular star clusters and measuring the distances to them. Okay,
Okay.
probably using the standard candle method. Of how he's measuring how bright these stars are. Okay, oh, these are a lot fainter, therefore they must be a lot further away. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
so he learned after his measurements that oops, not even the sun occupies the center of the universe. Up until that time, general accepted reality, as we want to call it, okay, was that the sun was in the center of the universe. Wrong. We're not even in a special part of the Milky Way, okay? And
Yeah.
then we
Yeah.
discovered, oh, well, the Milky Way must be the center of the universe. Wrong again, okay? No, it's not. It's just one of billions or trillions of galaxies out
Yeah.
there. So we do not occupy a special place in the universe, okay? Therefore, it's easy to infer that life is not as miraculous as it is, and how that it's we think it's uncommon. Okay,
Yeah.
we think it's uncommon, and some people, some theorists, or people putting forward hypotheses that this is the only place where life existed, because we
Yeah.
have not yet really detected, irrefutable hardcore
Yeah.
proof. No, we're not like with on the Tonight Show with an alien. Okay, we're not. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be really
Yeah.
cool if we were, but that hasn't happened yet. Okay, to our
Well, and
knowledge.
I
So maybe
think that
Johnny
I think
Carson
that
might have been an alien, but so
you never know. I think that one of the things too is, though, as we wrap our minds around life out there looking like us, and it doesn't. Sometimes
there's
it could
another
be
one.
a small
Yeah.
it could be a small thing, microscopic living thing that's out there that we don't know
Let's
about,
take COVID. Yeah, I would say that
Yeah.
COVID is a living thing. Okay, out there,
Yeah.
it's a virus. Okay,
Yeah.
it collectively has a kind of intelligence. Okay, it certainly
Yeah.
kicked our butt, and
Yeah.
right. So and things like viruses can actually survive the environs of the vacuum of space,
Yeah.
and they're not the only things. All right, so
Yeah.
there's the possibly bacteria that had been blown out of our atmosphere by big asteroid impacts, for example, could have, with the solar wind, kept blowing out until some of it collected, rained down on Mars. So
Yeah.
there's an idea that the genesis of life here, as amazing that kind of creation event is, may not be that unusual in the universe. All right.
Hmm.
So we, as far as being very technical, humans are still not super ultra technical. I would say
Yeah.
they just found. I don't know if you saw this, but they just found some human remains that are now dating 1 million years earlier than the oldest human remains ever
Oh
found. So
wow.
it puts humans back to about 3.5 million years. All right, well, let's just take the last 50,000 years. How much did we technically really know? Not much, okay? Then you keep
Yeah.
compressing it to, maybe the last 500 years? 500 years, it started getting pretty interesting. The last 400 some odd years, we got the telescope. Okay. So, and now today, we go all the way from Galileo's kind of not very great telescope to the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yeah, they were 300,000 years old, according to the carbon dating.
You're talking about these
What was?
remains?
Yeah, the remains.
Oh.
3 million.
Huh?
He said 300,000.
What's the byline on this? What date is this?
Yeah.
That's why I got to 2017.
Go a little further. Well,
Like-
if you honestly think about it, and like when she showed the Eagle's Nest nebula, and she called it a nursery of creating stars. If you think of everything in that aspect, then you have to come to the conclusion that there must be life somewhere. I mean, that's being created. Life's always being created
It's
here.
right here.
I mean,
It's right here.
you can't just assume that this is the only planet that has life on it. I mean, it's so it's just, I don't know. It's really interesting to talk about.
We can't say for certain that it is. We can't. Also, you can't say that it's not. Okay, so that's the deal on that. Most people who study science, follow this kind of stuff, do realize the distances involved. Okay, we are light years away from other stars, and so that's the deal. It is very intriguing to think about. If you went to Pekka and Connor and you guys that are really kind of commenting on this, if you went to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and you asked the scientists there, okay, what is it that we're studying now? I mean, we kind of went through an era in astronomy where we were making maps. Okay, we were saying, okay, plotting this, and there, voila, we got a constellation. Okay, then we started trying to refine the positions of the stars. Okay, then we learned how to measure the stars. Okay, the distance to the close stars. And then we started measuring, and then this expansion thing of, which started really and got kicked off big time in 1923 when Edwin Hubble discovered a variable star in the Andromeda Nebula. Okay, that happened at the 100 inch at Mount Wilson. And suddenly we went from, oh my goodness, the whole universe isn't just the Milky Way. There are lots and lots of these other island universes. Yeah, and so that went from, I don't know, probably thinking initially there's a few hundred of them to a few million of them to a few billion of them, and now maybe it's a trillion, and maybe there's parallel universes. So that's
there's no count. I don't think we can count how many things are probably out there. It just keeps going and going and going, which is amazing. I mean, what a great exploration, to be able to be a part of and and watch that journey unfold. I mean, I know that they had major things to overcome, from getting the telescope into the rocket to getting it out into space and unfolding it, and there was just a lot to do in order it to be able to do that. And so, and I want to know who thought. Okay, I just can see them trying to figure out, this telescope is way too big to fit in a rocket. Let's figure out how to origami fold it down so it'll fit in there.
It wasn't origami. It was just amazing. I mean, I think Wendy said in the talk there was like 100 points of failure. There was more than 100 single points of failure. I think it was like 300 some odd. Just crazy, okay? Numbers of likelihood of failure on this instrument. But the point I was making about the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, if you went to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory today and asked them how are they studying, what is it that they're really after to study in the universe, it's not distance, it's not the spectral analysis so much, okay?
Yeah.
What they're searching for is life, okay? And they're very serious about it, okay? So,
Well, that's why they're constantly looking for new planets. I mean, the first time I read about, I think Jerry Hubble. I read an article on Jerry Hubble, him figuring out. I can't remember what kind of planets they are, but because of the way they pass, the light that comes, like you could just see the shadow of it, and so that's how it'll fit it.
The iconic Galileo scope is perfect for emerging astronomers to learn about the science of optics and the inner workings of a telescope as they build their own 50mm refractor. The kit requires no tools and includes everything to make a compact, reliable telescope.
Hey friends, Kent Martz here with Explore Scientific. And Paul, I'm hearing the sound about 5 seconds late.
No,
It
it's
sounded
not.
like
It's
the
just
thing went
messed
like
up.
through both ears or something.
Okay,
we've
is that
been
what it
having
was?
We've been having a little bit of
Yeah.
issues today, and I'm working it out as on the fly.
Yeah, it was like I started talking and all of a sudden the sound came through my earbuds, and that was disconcerting to say the least. Hey Scott, how you doing?
I'm good, a little tuckered out from traveling back and forth to California. I was at the we had a very special weekend with the George Ellery Hale family. They had a reunion that was celebrated at California Institute of Technology in Caltech, Pasadena, and then we went to Mount Wilson Observatory. There were great talks at both places. It started off with the president of Caltech was there talking to the extended family of the George Ellery Hale family. George Ellery Hale, I think, died 1938, something like that. I think he was only in his 50s. But during his lifetime, he built 4 of the world's largest telescopes, including the Yerkes 40-inch refractor, the Mount Wilson 60-inch telescope, the Mount Wilson 100-inch, where they discovered, these 2 telescopes, they made major discoveries about our galaxy and about the universe. At the 60-inch, they discovered, Harlow Shapley discovered that the sun, it was believed all the way from the time that, from Galileo's time till that time, that the sun was probably the center of the entire universe. And so Harlow Shapley, by measuring the distances to globular star clusters, was able to determine that was not the case and that we did not occupy a special place in the Milky Way itself. Then in about 1923, after the completion of the 100-inch telescope, they were able to photograph an individual variable star called a Cepheid variable in what was called the Andromeda Nebula at the time. They just thought it's kind of a circular, pinwheel of a gas in the Milky Way, and he determined that this nebula was indeed another island universe of stars, and so voila, other galaxies are discovered, and the universe expanded overnight by millions and millions of light years, containing what was then thought to be millions and millions of galaxies, which now is considered to be billions of galaxies or maybe trillions of galaxies. So, the search goes on. What was so cool is on, at Mount Wilson, Dr. Wendy Friedman, who, by the way, is going to be one of the very first astronomers on the James Webb Space Telescope. She gave a lecture about the refinement of something called the Hubble constant. This is something that Edwin Hubble came up with as a measuring stick to measure the distances of galaxies. And so there's been this continued research and work towards refining that number. And they use standard candles of different stars and their brightnesses to determine these distances. And so these standard candles, which also include supernovae and different types of luminosity that they can detect, redshifts, these kinds of things, help us to understand the size of the universe. And so it was just it was a real honor to broadcast these things. So we, Explore Alliance did broadcast them on several channels, including Mount Wilson's own Facebook social media channel. So it was nice. Yeah. So and then on July 4th, I got to see some fireworks. That was cool. And we visited dealers, and we and then circled back here to Arkansas to face triple-digit temperatures. It was so hot. It was so hot yesterday. But anyhow, Kent and I have been talking a lot about the upcoming star party, the Arizona Dark Sky Star Party, and we encourage you to come. Kent, why don't you give some of the lowdown on the second Arizona Dark Sky Star Party? You were at the first one, is that right?
I was at the first one. It was in 2019. And Fabulous Dark Skies had never been to a star party in Arizona, have driven through a couple of times, but never been to a star party there. Went to Lowell Observatory for the rededication of the Clyde Tombaugh telescope there. And on the way back, we pulled in and some dark places and just pulled off the side of the road at a desolate exit. And Clint Brandon and I had some viewing there, but it wasn't like the wonders of the dark sky that we got at Kartchner Caverns, which is southeast of Tucson. And for a variety of reasons, we've moved it to Oracle State Park, which is northeast of Tucson, blocked by, is it Mountain Lemon? Is that correct?
It's blocked by Mount Lemon. Actually, the dark sky reading is very, very close between the two sites. And, Kartchner, I think, is about a tenth darker on average. But, in this situation, other things affect just how, dark things look, and this has a lot to do with, transparency, humidity, dust, these kinds of things come into play as well. But I think we're in for a treat. We did, Mike Wiesner and I did an on-site inspection and used the SQL meter to get light readings that were, 21 plus. And it wasn't even dark yet. It was I think it was 8:30 at night that we did these readings, maybe more towards 9 o'clock. So, it doesn't really start to get super dark until, maybe after 11 o'clock, something like that. So
when you were out there, obviously in September, it's going to get dark a lot earlier. So
that's right.
We haven't said the dates. September 1 through 25.
September 21, not September 1.
Oh,
September 21.
Yeah. September 21. Yes, we're having a 25-day star party.
Okay?
So,
no, it's going to be September 21st to the 25th. And so it's going to be really great. Now, something else that's happening in the community of Oracle is that the Friends of Oracle, which is Friends of Oracle State Park, is a supportive group of the state park area itself. But there's also the Oracle Visitor Center. And so they're getting musicians, artists, the Catalina Council of Boy Scouts will be there doing their activities. We can expect talks at Biosphere 2. We got Biosphere 2 coming up. We have people like that have been selected, like Adam Block and Fred Espenak and some other luminary type speakers I think you'll really enjoy. We will broadcast live some of these talks, not all of them. And we hope to have some amateurs that are astrophotographers that will show live views through their telescopes while they're out there. So, but it's been a long time since we've actually gone to Arizona for these star parties, and so we're hoping that you consider making the trip out there. I did mention I was in California, and I did see the high price of gasoline that was out there. But as you get out more towards Arizona, fuel becomes cheaper and cheaper. And so I think that if that's any consolation for you, that's something to think about. We are also working with Biosphere 2 as far as accommodations. So you can get rooms there. You can buy I think it's a 5-night package. Ends up being $120 a night. They have dormitory style rooms, but I never visited a dormitory that's this nice. So it is. They give you fresh linens, and it's a nice setup. You will share.
There's no room service.
No room
There's
service.
No linen service.
There are B&Bs there that you can get, and if you like the Airbnb type of thing, those are available as well. So there's no shortage of rooms for the event, and we think I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So if you want to book a room at the Biosphere, you have to go through us. They do not have a reservation system. They're not a hotel. So these are rooms that are generally set up for visiting scholars and college students and things like that. And so they don't have a mechanism. So you have to go through us to reserve those rooms. And Scott, do we have a page up for that? I don't.
Yes, we do. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's recognize some of the people that are watching right now. We have Tarek watching from the UAE. He says, hello, Beatrice. Harold Locke is watching. Beatrice says, hello, Kent, Scott, and Paul. Annie Scarborough from customer services watching right now. Mike, did you pull over and get a lawn chair out? Okay.
He said he was watching, but traveling.
Okay. Oh, he was like on the road or something? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mike Wiesner's watching. Mike has been very instrumental in getting things, he's been our man on the ground there in Oracle. He lives in Oracle. He can attest to its dark skies. And he's made some really nice Milky Way shots from Oracle State Park. Norm Hughes is watching. And who else? Osmosis 007. He's probably a James Bond fan like I am. I love that.
Osmosis 007. He's been on a number of our broadcasts asking some really great questions. He's a great addition to the family. Absolutely. Good to see him on. So I'm looking for the link.
For the link?
The Biosphere. Is it on the Arizona page?
Here, I'll find it for you. Hold on.
Because I've got my screen up. I can share. Here, I found it. No.
You found it? Okay. Yeah,
so Paul, you want to share the screen for me?
What's that?
Paul, you want to share the screen? Okay, Paul can share my screen through the.
Okay, sounds good.
So the picture. You think of college dormitories. You say dorm rooms, and we've all seen dorm rooms on college campuses and dormitories, but there's a picture down the walkway, and that is just attractive as can be right there. $512. If you're coming with a group, and there's going to be like 6 of you, let us know. And we will make sure that we block you all off together in the same dorm room, or we'll separate you if you're not that good of friends, or you want to meet some new people as well. We can block you off so that you have, rooms with people if you want to do that. And
the other thing I'll point out here, it's not a hotel, And unlike hotels, hotels usually have like things like special taxes that add on to your cost. Sometimes parking, which adds on to your cost. Sometimes resort fees, these kinds of things. So they'll come up with you'll see advertise a lower price for a hotel room, and then you end up paying, if it's $100 or something, or $120, it quickly adds up to like 150, $160 before you're all said and done per night. And so, but this is not the case here. This is roughly, I think 120 a night, something along those lines. So,
right. And no hidden fees, no hidden taxes.
Right.
Right. It's just
right.
$512 for the event.
Right. But you can't pick up the phone and get room service. No. Okay. So that's the deal.
And the towels you get on day one are the towels you use the whole week. Scott, did you take this picture, or was this
No. This is just a very nice photograph of the Arizona desert region, and
it looks like the sidewalk is wet. That's why I was going to ask.
You're talking about this picture here?
No, I'm talking about this picture up here on the screen right now. So
let me see.
It's not on anyone else's screen, Ken.
No, that shot of the casita rentals is from the Biosphere website.
Yeah. So the sidewalk looks wet. That's why I was asking. So they took it.
Yeah, it was probably right after a monsoon rain or something like that.
Right. So,
but
it's
you
not
guys will remember that
season.
Biosphere was an experiment to see if people could live in an enclosed environment, making their own oxygen and their own food and all of that stuff, for a Mars colony. So,
and while, it had problems, they had to put in more moisture and air from oxygen from time to time, but it's not a failure, because science is not about failure. Science is about learning from failure. And the things they learned,
they need failure to know where so you push the limits until you get failure, and then you start to learn from that. If everything's going fine, you just don't know when it's going to go bad, right? So
and you definitely want to, long before you get to Mars, you want to figure out where failure point is. Most assuredly, if you've never been to dark skies, this is an opportunity to get there. It's going to be great weather. It's not monsoon season. The highs, be warm. It'll get cool in the evenings. Deserts are hot during the days and cold at night. So prepared for, to be in the 80s or 90s and maybe the 50s or 60s in the evenings. But we got 4 spectacular nights back in 2019. If we get 4 spectacular nights again, we'll be doubly lucky. But it is extremely dark. The first night the sun goes down, if you've never seen a dark sky, you're not going to be, and you're good at finding constellations.
Yeah,
you're going to be blown away because you can't find the constellations. There's so many stars that constellations are not apparent. And that was the most overwhelming thing I had. Back in, in the 2001, when I went to the Nebraska Star Party for the first time. It was jaw dropping, and you need to experience that. And we're going to be doing astrophotography. We're going to have people showing you how to do it, helping you do it. Bird watching. September is the fall migration, and there will be a host of birds migrating through that we will be. I believe we've got a bird watcher expert who's going to be leading some talks, and we'll have some binoculars there for people to borrow. I believe they check out binoculars from the visitor center as well. So it's going to be a good time. We're planning to
bring some optics for people to use, of course. And the one special optic that we're going to bring, Kent, is the new Alpen thermal imaging optic. Okay, now this is really cool. This is something that just fits in your hand. Okay, you press down the button, and it's beyond seeing in the dark. Okay, anything that's warm is going to be picked up over the background areas. So we're going to be setting these things up on tripods overlooking the watering hole that's out at Oracle State Park. and you're going to see some amazing animal life at night. So I
Yeah,
think
at
it'll be
night,
very cool.
because the things you see at night are completely different than the things you see during the day. Generally, that's
True.
going to be cool as well. And Scott, I'm going to have the BT giant binoculars out there. I
Nice.
cannot wait to see what it looks like. So we have one pair here, we have more coming, but they're 120 millimeter diameter telescopes mounted side by side as a pair
Hmm.
of binoculars with two eyepieces. Will blow
Yeah.
you away. The sky is going to look. I can't wait. The moon looks amazing through it. I cannot wait to see what the dark sky in Arizona is going to look like through these. When you're using both eyes, the way your brain is engineered to see things
Right.
in a true binocular fashion, it's going to be pretty cool, Scott.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Stargazer Man wants to know. He says, "Hey guys, where on the Bortle scale does the site sit?" I would say it's between a 1 and a 2. Okay, is where it's at. I have been to darker sites, but in order to get to those sites, you have to go way out there, way beyond any civilization. So um, I've been at Bortle One Skies, where the nearest town was like 100 miles away, so that's, or 70 miles away. I would probably rate the Nebraska Star Party at Bortle One. Um, and, the drive to the next closest town, which is Valentine, is a little bit of a jaunt away. So,
It's 40
uh,
miles away.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
Big
I'm
Bend
getting the
National
map up
Park
right
is
now.
Bortle One, so, but again, you're very, very far away from civilization. We did not want to pick a site where it was only for the most extreme dark sky site, or the most extreme away from civilization. This is close enough and dark enough where astronomers can be satisfied. Deep sky observers, I'm a deep sky observer. I love to do visual observations. You're going to be able to see some amazing stuff from there. Astrophotographers, absolutely, it's going to be no problem. And so you're going to see, you'll see the Gegenschein, you'll see the zodiacal light. The Milky Way looks like a storm cloud overhead, so it's going to be amazing for you.
So Scott, I've gone to lightpollutionmap.info, and
Yeah,
it says it's Bortle 2.
Bortle
So
too. Now,
yeah, Bortle 2.
one of the things I learned about light pollution maps, okay, is that uh, they don't tell the entire story of how dark it is. Okay, and so
Right.
this is, I think it was Mike Wiesner. He's very involved with the International Dark Sky Association. He said it's a little bit, it's a good read, but does not really tell you what you can or cannot see from a site. So,
Right. Because
which is,
it's about air cleanliness, it's about
yeah.
transparency, steadiness,
Yeah, yeah.
things
Like in
like that.
Arkansas, we have Bortle One and Bortle Two skies out here, but there's so much humidity in our skies that rarely can you see anywhere near what you could see from maybe a Bortle Two, 2.5 sky from a very transparent, like a desert site, for example. So,
Right. So I'm going up to Nebraska right now just to see what Nebraska
mhm.
says. Nebraska's Bortle Class 1, an
Yes,
SQM meter of 22. Yeah.
right.
So it's just dead dark. It's so dark that when the Milky Way gets up overhead high, you can see your own shadow.
Yeah,
Now,
and I
it's a
believe
diffuse
I believe that
shadow.
you can see your shadow to a degree, also at
Yeah,
Oracle. So,
I suspect you can. And it's weird. You turn around, and you look at the ground for a while, and obviously your eyes have to be fully dark adjusted, hour and a half, 2 hours.
sure.
And you turn around with the Milky Way behind you, and you start looking and you move, and you can see it move with you. It's a very diffuse, it's not easy to see. You're
Yeah,
casting a diffuse shadow on the ground. It's like it's pretty cool to see. Yeah, pretty cool to
right,
see.
right.
So,
Okay. But I think that
all right.
that's kind of our things I had to cover for today. Uh, the this particular event's going to be amazing. We also have, I would be remiss in not mentioning the Mount Wilson 60-inch star party, which will happen in October. So if you're going to our website, you would just do explorescientific.com/events. I'll put that link up there, and you can see all the stuff that we're doing. We will also be going to the Nebraska Star Party this year. And we will be attending Starmus event and doing a star party out in Yerevan, Armenia at the Temple of Garni, okay, which is a first century pagan temple. So it looks like the Parthenon or something. It's really cool. And then what else are we doing?
Let's see.
What other star party?
Eclipses. Let's
right.
talk eclipses. We've got an eclipse blog up. Paul, you want to get that up? He says,
I can share it.
I've got it right here. He'll get it up.
Takes me a minute to find this stuff because I
know where it is.
I wasn't expecting to be called upon.
Here, I can do it. Hold on. This is the 2024 eclipse. I'm actually working on a page for the 2023 eclipse as well. Let's see. Toggle screen sharing. And can I just share one page here? I don't know. Window. Here we go.
If you've never seen an eclipse, that too should be on your bucket list. Having seen plenty of eclipses over the years, but I think the closest I got was in the high 80s. But I'm telling you, Mike Scott says 99%'s not it. 99.5%'s got to be pretty cool. But I'm telling you, 100% totality. I guess totality is 100%, isn't it? Totality is an amazing experience that changes you in some way. It sounds weird to say this, but I know people that have seen the eclipse, and they all say it changed the way they look at the life.
Yeah, it's a cognitive shift is probably the best way to describe it, or one of the best ways to describe it. Because, something really does move inside of you. When I saw my first eclipse, total eclipse, I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach that something was wrong, okay? Like almost fear-based, type of feeling. So it was very, very interesting, and you can totally understand once you experience it. And you can see a zillion beautiful photos of it. You can watch videos of it. You can hear people screaming ooh and ah and all the rest of it. That is nothing compared to what it's really like.
Scott, when we were Clint Brandon and I went up to Casper, Wyoming, and we were up on the backside of Mount Casper in the Badlands, and the valley was sort of oriented to the northwest, and there were people down this road off to the west of us, and we're watching it. It's nearly eclipsed, and it's just right there. And then the people, half a mile down, you hear them start yelling, and then as they're in the eclipse, half a mile away, and you're not eclipsed yet, and then people closer yell, and the people close, then the people right over there 50 feet away yell, and it's not eclipsed yet for you, and then you yell, and then the people on east of you yell, and literally I called it the yell that went all the way across the country, because I think that was one thing that everybody just shouted out in awe, in celebration, in amazement. It's really hard to describe that feeling, and
hey, Scott,
it followed along. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Your camera's doing something funky.
Yeah, I didn't like it after I shared it, so I'm just going to be the guy talking right now. So
Okay.
He'll be the
It didn't like
He's
for
the
me to share,
disembodied
so
voice.
that's why we're having you share. So
Yeah,
that's right.
I just need the links and know where I need to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought I could
Okay,
share, and I
so
did. I did
anyway,
share for a little bit.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
you can
anywho,
hit reload, Scott, and it may fix it.
let's see.
or you can kick it. One
I'm
or the
back.
other. So we have two eclipses coming up. One in October of 2023.
There you
That's going to be an
go.
annular eclipse, and the annular eclipse is when the moon is too close to the Earth
Yeah.
to fully cover the sun. And so, depending on where you are, if you're very close to the center path, like we're going to be at the October version of the Crossroads of the Eclipses Star Party, we're less than a half a mile. We're literally yards away from the center line of the annular eclipse that comes down out of Northern California and Oregon and
Hmm.
crosses, South Texas and goes into the Gulf. We're within yards of the center line. And because of that, the moon is going to be dead centered on the sun, and it's just going to be a perfect ring of sun all the way around. It's like a sun with a big donut hole in it. Now, you have to use eclipse glasses the whole time on an annular eclipse because
Yeah.
you're getting sunlight, real sunlight. 99% sunlight is still bad for your eyes, so you can't do it. And then we're like 2 miles away from the center line on the April 2024 eclipse, and it's going to be spectacular. Then we're getting what, 4 minutes and 26 seconds of totality where we are.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
Right.
going to be tremendous to see. Osmosis 007, it's the best part of being a regional truck driver. All the small towns in the tri-state area, Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, getting paid to scout camping locations. Absolutely. You figure if you can figure out how to get paid, do it. Now we're gonna be having eclipse glasses here for sale pretty soon. It's going to be a fun thing. Get your eclipse glasses when you can. Don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah. In fact, our
And
first batch of eclipse glasses comes in this week. So,
right, right.
um, yeah, you definitely want to get ready for it. You don't want to wait. You do not want to wait for the rush that happens, you know, a few
That's
weeks
right.
because you might think, oh, it's reasonable to expect that 6 or 8 weeks before the eclipse, I can get my eclipse glasses and then everything's going to be fine. That answer is no. That's a bad idea. Okay, because everybody thinks that, and so the crunch to get eclipse glasses happens just it happens weeks before. There's no reason for you not to get your eclipse glasses now. You can use them to look at the sun to try to find big sunspots if you want, that kind of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the other thing you should get is eclipse filters or just solar filters, white light solar filters for your camera, for your telescope, because you'll probably want to try to photograph the eclipse, right? And so you need
Right.
to know how to use those filters and to track the sun. So
And
that
muscle
is
memory. Muscle
there
memory,
we go,
Scott.
muscle memory, exactly. Because
I
the
tried to do it.
panics that happen during an eclipse, where if something goes
Mhm.
wrong. I've seen everything from people not recording things to not taking off lens caps to um, not turning on tracking, just a zillion things, so because when it's happening, you will be so captivated by the eclipse, even if you're a seasoned eclipse goer. Okay, in fact, seasoned eclipse goers have it down to muscle memory. They practice, so when I've been to 3 eclipse expeditions so far where we broadcasted the eclipse. The first time was actually done on 35 millimeter film on Mauna Kea in Hawaii for the science show called Nova. So I was part of that Nova film crew. The second and third time was with the Exploratorium, where they're broadcasting via satellite and doing the uplink for NASA and a number of other streams. Um, and you get started 3-4 days in advance on site, polar aligning, tracking, going through the motions of it until the actual eclipse comes. So,
And Scott, the one that was down in South America that you went to, we
mm-hmm.
shipped duplicate or triplicates of many things down there. It wasn't a case of just ship one of what you're going to use. We shipped at least two. In some parts, we shipped three things down there.
That's right. Yeah,
to make
you
sure
you
that
have no time. If something breaks, you drop something, you trip over a cord and rip something out. You have no time to get another one sent in. And so you just need to have it. So you need to, if you're going on an expedition, a real expedition, and an eclipse would definitely qualify, you need to have backup. And so that's just the way it is.
And we're going to be down in South Texas, and it is an expedition. This is not glamping. This is going to a place where we're on a private farm. There's one entrance. We're going to have people there checking passes. The only people are getting in are going to be registered guests. So you're going to be able to, if you want to, and not camp there, but have a site there, you could set your gear up, leave it. We're going to have security. And if you're comfortable doing that, and then go to a hotel back in Austin or San Antonio or Kerrville or somewhere like that,
Austin
and
would
then
be
come out for the eclipse.
Right.
It's going to be, Austin's a hard 2-hour drive. Kerrville's a 2-hour drive or an hour and a half drive. We recommend coming to camp. And
I totally want to go glamping though.
Well, you can do that. I think,
you can
pull
make
a trailer there.
So we'll see.
You can pull a trailer there. You tent camp with no problem. You're going to have to come prepared with electricity. We hope to have some ways to offer your ability to recharge, but you need to plan on this being an expedition to a solar eclipse and attack it just like you would an expedition to Mount Everest or however you want to look at it.
But we will have food on site. There'll be, you can get hot food there prepared on site. Mickey's Kitchen is going to be there. Mickey is famous for being at the Winter Star Party and supplying people with food all day and all night long. So these star parties are not just for the eclipse. They will be dark of the weekend, dark of the week star parties, because they'll be during new moon, of course, and so it's going to be great.
And I think, Scott, that's a critical. This is not just an eclipse event that day. This is a star party leading up to the eclipse.
Yes.
And then after the eclipse is over, we know from experience, from what happened in 2017, the roads are going to become grid locked, and you'll get caught in a traffic jam if you're trying to fly out of San Antonio.
Don't make this tight on the side of the eclipse.
Yep.
No. Yeah, you're going to want to allow a day or two after the eclipse to leave. So.
So, Stargazer Man, hoping to make a trip to the States in 2024. My fourth TSC. What's TSC? Total solar eclipse. And this private area for the event sounds perfect. Stargazer Man, absolutely. It's going to be, it's out where it's dark. It's for astronomy people. Come to a star party. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have talks about the history of the Texas Hill Country. We're going to have, it's going to be more than just a star party at night and then solar eclipse and then go home. We're working to make this an event that fills your time and is educational as well, workshops and things like that. So
it'll be fun, and you're going to make some friends out there. So that's going to be
you'll
cool.
make lifelong friends out there at this thing, because especially if you're there for 3 or 4 days,
right?
You're going to make friends that you're going to, Norm Hughes is going to be in Hunt, Texas. Norm, there's no reason why, unless you've got a place you're already going to go, you're welcome to come, spend the week with us. Would love to have you. to meet some people that we see all the time and often every
Yeah.
day.
Right.
And I look forward to meeting so many people over the course of these events.
Mhm.
That's to me, that's sort of the special part of this is meeting people who are friends that we've never met, but yet we talk to them every day or whatever. So,
Right.
Tyler or Paul has a picture of you doing the sun catcher solar filters, a
Oh
very
yeah.
inexpensive way. It'll fit. We can make one to fit any telescope. If there's not one or not one that you're sure what your telescope is, all we need to know is the diameter of the objective lens, and we can make a filter for you. They're cardboard with a solar safe film, and they've got some hard black foam triangles that you cut to fit your telescope. I always caution people, make sure it's a tight fit. You don't want that thing to just slip on and slip off
No.
because
Exactly.
yeah, because you'll put your eye out if you're not
Yeah.
careful,
Yeah.
or you'll
Yeah.
burn your camera sensor. So you want that thing to go on there and have to really force it on there to get it on there, because you don't want a hard wind or a good wind or somebody walking by to brush it and knock it off. You want that thing to stay on there,
Right.
no matter
You'll notice
what.
it's over the front of the telescope. In that video that Paul has up, I demonstrate that the danger of trying to look through your telescope just by wearing eclipse glasses.
I cannot
We
pull
had
the
to
sound up for that video
get pull the
the way
sound.
I have it.
So I was talking about is don't put your eclipse glasses on and
Yeah.
then look in your telescope
Oh,
with no filter.
that's
So you've got a telescope, no filter on the front,
you'll
like
burn
you'd
through
look at, say, the
the
moon.
filter like a laser beam. Okay.
No, Scott,
And
it is a laser. I mean, it effectively is a very solar powered laser. It will instantly burn through that film, and I mean, you won't have any warning. You'll hit it,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
just vaporizes that film.
Right.
You
So be
can't
aware of
do
what you're
that.
doing. One of the other things I've seen happen is people use correctly an over the lens solar filter, and they lean down to look in the eyepiece, and they have forgotten to cover or remove the
Mm.
finder scope, which is, by the way, also aligned with the main telescope, and still light
And
coming in,
burn their
and then they see
foreheads.
smoke coming from their hair because their hair's catching on fire. You know.
Yep. Yep. So you need to either take your finder scope off or
Yep.
cover it because there's, and I use the shadow to line it up. I mean, we're going to use our PMC8
Me
systems
too.
to
Yeah.
get things lined up and have it lined up the day. And that's the other great part about coming is you can get a perfect polar alignment the night before. Buddy has an observatory, but I plan on coming to the Star Party. Norm, we will love to have you.
That'd be fun to
Certainly
have you.
want to shake your hand and thank you for being a part of our family.
Yeah.
But you get there a couple of days early, you can get a dadgum absolute perfect 100% polar alignment,
Hmm.
which is going to make your photography and your viewing easier the next day because everything is just going to work right. Except there's always going to be something that happens. Somebody's going to trip over it the night before, or you bump it, or something happens, right? But you're there. You're going to be in a
Well,
dark
you're
spot. You're
watching
going to have
your
a lot,
gear closely, and
right?
you're going to be out there with other amateur astronomers, and they're going to be mindful of what you're doing. It's not like a free for all, party type of deal. This is for people that want to have a great astronomy experience and a great eclipse experience too.
Yeah. Awesome. Osmosis 007 says it's a Doc Evil laser on sharks kind of situation. Yeah, something like that. You'll put your eye out. It's a Red
Yes,
Ryder
you
BB gun.
Yeah.
You will put your eye out. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
Ralphie would learn the hard way. And when I'm viewing, I
Yeah.
always I always put my hand over just to make sure because I'd
Oh,
rather
just
put my hand.
if you feel heat hitting your hand, yeah, that's
Yeah. I burn my hand far before I burn my forehead or eyeball.
right.
Most
Sure,
assuredly. So
sure.
it's going to be a great time. South Texas, the farther south you go, the better chance you have of having clear skies. Now, which is not to say that somebody up in Maine may be the only place in the United States that sees it, because the rest of the United States could be cloudy that day.
Could
but
be.
you know, percentage chance is the farther south you get, better chance you have of having clear skies. And that's
Mhm.
why we picked a location down there and just stumbled upon, basically a friend of ours who grew up on this ranch. And it's like, yeah, you can use it, not a problem. And we're going to be in their bull pasture, by the way. So this is where they keep all their big bulls, and the
Yeah,
bulls
but
are
they're
supposed
not
to
going
be
to be
very.
there while we're
Oh,
there.
come on, Scott, you ruined my joke. The bulls are supposed to be very friendly. They'll eat out of your
Yeah, right.
hands, not knock over
They'll
telescopes or anything
or
else.
I you misread that, Kent. It's they'll eat your hands.
Well, except they're going to move the bulls out of the pasture before so that we can use the pasture. Now, you have to be prepared. This is Texas Hill Country. There's cactus. There's,
Yeah, but it's no more
reptilian
dangerous
life.
than when we went observing all the time. Every dark of the moon, we'd be out at
Right.
Anza State Park in
Exactly.
California. There's choyo cactus. There's, just learn how to
Yeah.
be, just don't be silly out there. Don't
Well,
roll in
Scott,
Does that
on the
mean I can't
ground.
go?
Well, you can just as long as you sit down and mind your P's and Q's and don't
Scott,
do
I was
anything.
wearing. One of my kids was wearing sandals the first time I went to the Nebraska Star Party,
Oh,
and
not a good idea.
in about 30 minutes, I heard yells and screams and cries of agony.
Huh.
And they came back. Two of my kids came back, and they had discovered the beauty of sandburrs. And imagine a little cocklebur,
Sandburrs?
a little bitty thing with
Oh,
500 needle sharp points on it.
nice.
And
Ouch.
I went to pull them off of my fingers and thought, nope, not doing
Oh,
that.
because
That
they
hurt.
stick in your fingers too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I ended up using a pair of pliers, just because I didn't want to pull them
That's
out. And
right.
so uh, there probably will be some bull pie in the
Cow
fields,
pies.
but by that
Yeah.
time,
They
yeah,
dry out though. You can throw them
they'll
like a
dry out.
frisbee.
Sure,
Yeah.
we.
We used
Ooh,
to throw.
Scott,
We used
Scott,
to have a cow pie throwing contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, absolutely, we could do that. We could have a cow pie throwing contest to see who can throw, and we can give away an eyepiece or something. That'll
Sure.
be a hoot. That'll be
Sure.
fun.
Yeah, where else do you go
Norm,
to throw cow pies?
Norm, you can. Do we have the page up for it, Scott? Where you
When
can
will
make
you
reservations?
advertise the events and address and costs, et cetera? Okay. So right now, the best link to use will be www.explorescientific.com/eclipse. Okay. We expect to have the pricing and sign up sheets and everything ready by the end of this week. So it'll be by the end of this week or the beginning of next week. But we know people are trying to make a decision on where to go, what to do, and all the rest of it. The good news is that we already have everything approved. Okay. So um, and we have food lined up. We have to make some little bit of final decisions on what kind of porta potties we're going to get, but we're going to have porta potties. So you're going to have security, place to go to the bathroom, place to eat. All that stuff will be right there on the site. You're going to be in one of the best places in the whole world to go see both of these eclipses. So, in fact,
Uh,
the only place in the whole world to see both of these eclipses.
Yeah, there's a very limited area where you can be in the same spot and see both these
Yeah,
eclipses. And
yeah,
Scott, we actually have a helicopter landing pad already there. It's got a
yeah,
windsock on it.
yeah.
So if something happens, uh, you can get taken into San
Oh yeah,
Antonio
you have to
to
you have to
world class
prepare for the
medical,
worst, and
right? And
so
hope for the
the
best,
and hope for the best.
right?
So we did. I did put together a page which I think you and Tyler have both looked at, and it's called "Preparing for a Star Party."
hmm
So let me just give you that link one more time. I put it down there
You need
earlier.
if you're traveling for this, you need to make a checklist of everything you have
Yeah,
and check it when you prepare it and put it in one spot. And then when you load it into your bags, you need to check it
yeah,
again. And then before you leave the house, you need to check it again because you leave your medicine at home that you have to survive. you're going to have to stop at a pharmacy and pay through the nose
Yeah.
for it at full
Oh yeah,
price.
it's going to
You don't
be.
want that.
You just want to be
Yeah.
prepared. So, I in this article, we talk about safety first. Bringing a friend, okay, is a big deal. Okay, bringing a friend is good for your drive. Because we are going out into a remote area. This is hill country of Texas, so your drive is going to probably be long. And so it's always safer if you have somebody with you. And, it's like having a dive buddy. You don't go diving by yourself, okay? Even if you're experienced. You dive with a friend in case anything that you need assistance with, So that does add an incredible layer of safety. You want to make sure your
It's
vehicle is in good condition and ready to drive, okay? I mean, this, things that maybe you don't even normally think about, but you want to double check your vehicle registration, double check your car insurance, check air pressure, tread on your tires, that your spare tires in good shape. You want to check brakes, fluid levels, hoses, lights, all of that stuff. And if you don't already have roadside assistance, sign up for it. There's some good roadside assistance programs with your insurance providers. You're going to want to carry emergency gear. So you need to be able to fix a flat, jumper cables to help yourself or help somebody else out. A strong backup battery for boosting your battery in case your battery goes dead. I've seen that happen at star parties. Um, Carrying extra fuel. So in this blog, there are actually Amazon links that we included where you can go and buy these things. I'm also big on first aid. So if you don't have some sort of first aid kit in your car, you need one, so not only for this, but for everything else. There's something called the Garmin InReach. These are really cool, and what they are is if you get out of range of cellular uh, phone data, okay, these things work off of satellite and they work anywhere in the world, and you can send text messages with them. I think some of them even let you read and receive and send email. Uh, when you go to these events, you're going to want to plan to stay overnight. So you need to have. We give you scenarios with, whether you're tent camping, sleeping in your car, these kinds of things. A tent that I found that I thought was pretty good is from North Face, and it's the Welluna series. So I think that you might like those. You're not going to have an open fire at these star parties, so that's out. And you don't want to leave food or drink out unattended. That attracts
right.
insects, animals, and
I think the biggest threat out there may be the wild boar pigs.
Uh,
possibly.
Photoshop-like program. We're going to switch over right now to Amazon Live. So we're going to bow out, come back in, and I'm going to start over on this. Sorry to start over, but hey, so it goes. Bye. See you in a second. Hey everybody, Kent Martz here. Thanks for joining us on Amazon Live today. We've got this going out on the live stream to everyone in the world out there. For those of you that don't know, Amazon Live is a platform they launched last year that is full of live broadcasts. If you go to Amazon Live, which you probably have since you're probably watching this on Amazon Live, we are in there with a lot of beauty and skin and jewelry and all sorts of stuff. Not a lot of technology channels out there. We're, as far as we can tell, we're one of the only technology channels out there. We talk a lot about astronomy and astrophotography and birding and sports optics and STEM education toys, things like that. Today we're doing focus on astrophotography. Paul is apparently walking into the frame.
I just thought it won't work because you have to take it off the Wi-Fi and connect Wi-Fi to here.
Mm-hmm. Bluetooth?
Nope.
Paul, you're hiding behind the camera. Paul's trying to figure out a way to get my screen off my tablet into his switch so he can show you what's going on the screen. I don't have chat up over here either. So if you're out there on Amazon Live right now, you can chat us up. If you're out there on a live stream, you can chat us up as well. There's Paul. He's going to walk over there, bang on the computer, and he's mulling this over how to get the live image off of my screen so we can broadcast it easily and you can see what's going on. Paul's not feeling good today. He's more grumpy than he used to be, than his usual good old self. So we'll get to chat up here in a minute. So if you have any questions, comments, observations, whatever. Today we're talking about the IEXOS 100. It's over in your carousel on Amazon Live. You can pick it up for a great price. The device is designed for DSLR cameras and lens systems, which many of you already have, or small telescopes like a 70, or I'm getting ready to put on an ED80. I'm going to show you how to hook up a camera to an ED80 as well. So here we go. I've got a DSLR setup. We have a camera adapter that we sell that allows you to easily connect your camera to the telescope mount with what's called a mini Vixen dovetail. So we make that. It's longer than about anything else out there in the market that'll attach to a camera. There's some short ones, but you couldn't balance the camera real well by moving it forwards and backwards. So we came up with that hot foot right there. The Exos 100 is dead simple to use. Very simple, very easy to get started, but yet very powerful. Once you get past the point of you've learned, you start taking astrophotography, we don't recommend using the program that runs this, Explore Stars, for astrophotography after you get past a certain point, which is real quick. We recommend that you use a Windows computer or desktop and wire in hardwired and control it wired. Why? Because wired is a robust connection that is basically impossible to disrupt. Wi-Fi, somebody next door turns on a microwave oven and you may lose your Wi-Fi connection. Some guy with a ham radio or a CB fires up and keys his mic, you may lose it. You get in a place where there's 3,000 or 4,000 people, all of them with hotspots and all accessing the internet and using Wi-Fi, local Wi-Fi. It's going to interfere. You're not going to get a clear channel, and the mount's not going to really operate well. Ran into that problem when I tried to use a bigger sibling to this one, the Exos 2 GT with PMC8. Harold Block says, "More coffee, Paul." Absolutely, but Paul doesn't drink coffee. So, which is not to say he's not caffeine free. Hang on, he's digging into something. Oh, it's a rock star or something. Oh, it's a Bang. Yeah, he's getting his caffeine all right, just not through the good traditional coffee, everybody.
Coffee's evil.
So Pekka says, howdy's, Kent and everyone watching. Hello, Pekka. Thank you for tuning in from Sweden. I hope you had a great day. I saw on Facebook yesterday that you had a really nice moonshot. So I hope you're getting some solar images as well. Pekka uses some gear, and he has come a long way in the past year, both in his moon photography and his solar photography.
So,
it's awesome to see that progress.
If you want to see amazing